Hey, welcome. So today we're diving into a piece by Brian Singh that honestly just takes a sledgehammer to one of our most deeply held beliefs, this idea of human progress. It asks a pretty uncomfortable question, and I think it's one that's really worth digging into together.
You know the story we tell ourselves, right? I mean, we look around at our amazing cities of glass and steel, we look at the smartphones in our hands, and we see this clear, undeniable line of progress. It's a story of our own incredible ingenuity. We've wiped out diseases that literally plagued our ancestors for thousands of years. We've even reached for the stars. The narrative is always one of constant upward triumph. We're better, we're smarter, we've evolved. But this is where the source material just slams on the brakes. It forces us to stop and ask a really critical question. Okay, our world has been totally transformed, no doubt. But have we? Have we, at our absolute core, truly changed it all? So, the main argument here is, well, it's fascinatingly bleak. It suggests that all this progress we celebrate is really nothing more than a thin veneer. It's an illusion of advancement that we've painted over a much, much older and more primal reality. I really love this metaphor from the author. It frames civilization not as some fundamental shift in who we are, but as this incredibly delicate, fragile layer of skin. It's almost like a costume that we wear, but only when the weather's good.
And this quote just gets right to the heart of it. Our civility is completely conditional. The moment the comforts and the systems we rely on start to crack, when resources get scarce or power is threatened, we don't just stumble, we revert. That polite mask comes right off.
So, what do we revert to? Well, according to the source, we go right back to our factory settings. Tribalism, violence, that deep-seated us versus them mentality. These things aren't seen as historical mistakes or bugs in the system. No, the argument is that these are our core, instinct-driven patterns. Competition over cooperation isn't the exception, it's the rule. Now, this brings us to technology. You might think, well, technology must have changed us for the better. But the author argues that's not what's happening. Technology is just an amplifier. It doesn't change our nature, it just makes us way more effective at doing what our primal instincts were already pushing us to do. This comparison is just so brutally simple and effective. The point is, whether you're holding a stone club or piloting a military drone, the fundamental intent, to dominate, to win, to conquer, is exactly the same. All that's really changed is the efficiency and the distance. And this line, this just perfectly sums up the entire idea. All of our incredible, world-changing innovation is still being wielded by the same primal, emotional, and territorial creature we have always been. And this doesn't just apply to war. It actually extends to our entertainment. The source draws this chillingly direct line from the Roman Colosseum straight to our modern screens. Our fascination with conflict, that thrill in watching others fight and fall, it hasn't gone anywhere. It's just been repackaged for a new era. What a striking image, right? This quote suggests that our entire modern life, with all of its so-called sophistication, is just a more elaborate kind of cage. We look civilized in our tailored suits, scrolling on our digital devices, but underneath it all, we're still the same wild animal, just pacing in a different environment. So to really bring this challenging idea home, the author doesn't end with some dry summary. Instead, they conclude with a really powerful poem that distills the entire argument. It's definitely worth hearing. The poem paints this picture of our modern world, right? Our streets of glass and steel. But then it immediately pulls back the curtain to remind us what lies just beneath the surface. Under silk, beneath the wheel, that ancient feral creature is still standing there. It goes on to say we build these new thrones on circuit boards, which is true. But really, we've only traded in our old clubs for smarter swords. The tools are new, yeah? But the instincts, the desires driving us, they're stained by the exact same things as always. And this really gets to the absolute core of it all. The tools have changed, the hand is not. The argument is that we are, innately, creatures of the storm, driven by passions and instincts that now just burn in sleeker forms. The poem's final challenge is basically saying, don't talk to me about how much we've grown, because while the house of civilization has been built and its walls seem strong, the ravenous animal living inside remains completely unchanged. And so we're left with this deeply unsettling question. Is our entire belief in human progress just the greatest, most elaborate myth we've ever told ourselves? Have we actually evolved at all? It's a lot to think about.